Hi guys, welcome to Gold Rush. I'm not used to recording my podcast like this fucking early. I'm like so dead right now. That's what I feel like. Oh, I'm like over here like this. Anyhow, I'm drinking a coffee too, and it's a sad thing. Anyway, welcome to Gold Rush. Yeah, so I remember what I put for today's episode, but I'm gonna start this episode off by saying here in the next few weeks, we're gonna go on. I'm gonna call it a hiatus, for both Reinvented and Gold Rush. So there won't be any new uploads. And just for a little bit, just because I've been doing trying to get guests on both shows for consistently for months now. So, and it's really tiring, and I really just don't want to hit that burnout. So, because if you've ever hit burnout on doing something you love, you know that it doesn't always go the way you want it to. Yeah, oh my god, I feel like I need to chug this coffee. But in today's episode, we are going to talk international, the international break, Gold Cup, some other things I saw too. I'm not as familiar with what Europe is. Look at me. I'm just duh. All right. So, in terms of the international break, I know for the Gold Cup, the U.S. women's national team won 2 out of their 3 games. They suffered a historic loss to Mexico. And the reason, if people don't know why that's so historic, is for one, obviously in terms of international soccer, and most U.S. soccer fans know this, it is a big, and even I'm guessing Mexico fans too. They, it's a big rival. English, where did it go? You know what I'm trying to say. If I keep saying it, I'm gonna laugh at myself. In terms of that, it's a big one, right? It's obviously, but the U.S. obviously for the last 13, 14 years have consistently beat Mexico, right? Shut them out pretty much and consistently beat them. But that's also to say that in terms of how women's soccer is growing, the U.S. have obviously been the powerhouse for a long time. And people, obviously when they lost to Mexico, because people still, for some reason, I feel like people are still in this mindset of, the U.S. is going to win every game. And it's yes, of course you want them to win every game. You don't want to go to watch a soccer game or any type of other sports game and just go watch the team you went to watch lose. I mean, if you do that, you can do that. But, a team you like losing, I mean, obviously, you don't want them to, but it's it's just the reality of the sport. So it's more of this, growth of oh, well, the U.S. is losing, they must suck. It's it's not that so much that they suck. It is more of that they don't, that they're not always going to be the powerhouse of soccer. And I mean, eventually it was going to have to change. And people, I really don't agree when, Carly Lloyd, she played on the team, and she's now since retired, and I think is an analyst for Fox. But I don't agree with how she says, they need a mentality change. It's okay, just because they're not winning every single game doesn't mean they suck. It's just it's just the reality of a sport. Like, in any sport, you ain't gonna win them all. It's not fun when you win them all. You don't learn anything when you win them all. And also, like, not to mention, I've told people this before. When she says stuff like that, I'm like, go back to the game. Like, it was like a CONCACAF it wasn't the championship game, but it was, I want to say it was like their World Cup qualifier for the 2019 World Cup. Don't quote me on that one. I do remember this game vividly, and I remember what they, what was said, but, or like, it wasn't even said, but it was like, watching that, you could kind of just tell. I am, like, my mind is, yes, I have so much fun, dribbling dribbling and taking players on 1v1. I love doing it myself, but because I know, it's something I'm good at, and I love doing it, and to me, it's just a lot of fun taking on 3 players at once. But with that being said, at the end of the day, soccer is still a team sport. I'm not gonna score every single fucking goal. Like, and I'm not gonna win every single battle by my fucking self. If that were the case, then there wouldn't be like 10 other people on the goddamn field with me. Do you know how exhausting that would be being one person? That sounds really exhausting. I'm going a little off on a tangent there, but I remember watching this, like, I think they were playing Panama. And I remember, like, seeing on the camera, I don't know if anyone else ever noticed this, and I never, like, heard it talked about, but obviously, like, at the time when, when this game happened, it was, like, didn't really do a whole lot of, like, into soccer news, right? So it's, like, I wasn't really sure. But I remember, like, watching, I forget, I think she had just scored a goal, if I, like, remember correctly. But I remember, like, the camera, like, zooms in, right? Like, when it does that replay, it does a zoom in. Well, I remember it zooms in. And she very much clearly could have made, like, a pass. Like, it would have been much simpler to make a pass and let her teammate score. But she took on, like, one player and, like, scored. Like, and you could just kind of see, like, that frustration in her teammate's face. Like, in all honesty, you could kind of tell that wasn't part of the game plan. And that she didn't really listen to the game plan, per se. And you could kind of just see, like, everyone's frustration. Like, I was watching, I was like, they look frustrated. I mean, I was thinking, yeah, I guess she could have passed it. I mean, she scored regardless. But it's like, to say just because you're not on the team anymore, that's just like, not, like, okay, I think to say, like, and I know people, like, other people have been like, yeah, like, Abby Wambach had been like, like what some people are trying to say, and it's like, she's like, I don't agree with that. She's like, that's ridiculous. But, like, if you ever, like, I don't know if you can ever find that clip. I have to, like, look it up eventually and, like, post it on, like, Goal Rush. But it's like, you can really tell there's, like, that one moment where everyone's like, it's being a cocky player. And in which, obviously has gotten some players really, really far in their careers. Sometimes it's not. So, yeah. And I also kind of wanted to go on piggyback on that, where there was like, when she was still playing, there was an article, like, made where she, like, where apparently the wording on the, like, article was wrong. Like, it made her sound like she was attacking her teammates, which could still very much be the case. I mean, it's social media, that's what happens. But she was like, well, she blamed it on the media outlets. But now, just, like, I was like, because I was like, I read that and I was like, who would ever say that about their teammates? But it's like now I'm kind of thinking about back to that. It's like, did you actually say something you didn't mean to say? So, yeah, that's just my tangent on that one. But in other like international women's soccer news, you have Germany, who beat the Netherlands 2-0 to advance to the Olympics. I'm not entirely sure if that means the Netherlands are out. I didn't read that far. But if anyone wants to find that, they might actually be out of contention for the Olympics. And then I read that Spain won the first women, or the first like women's nation league or whatever, nations league. Obviously after winning the World Cup last year, so thumbs up to them. And then also I saw for the U.S. men are going to play Brazil in June. I think it was like June or July. It should be interesting. Just because obviously I still feel like the U.S. men's national team have a long way to go before they're ready to compete with like bigger contending. I mean, obviously, like, it's not to say that they can't do it. It's just like, obviously, U.S. soccer, for at least for their men's, they're still trying to build it and grow it. And find like, people who are fit for that environment in different leagues and not just the MLS, which they've been doing a good job of. So, yeah. Well, that's all I've got for you guys today on Goal Rush. I do hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, talking a little bit about international soccer. And I will see you guys next week. Peace.